Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Miss Noelle, and there's Miss Kristin over there. I don't know if you can see her.
Hey everyone.
But this is the Pittston Memorial Library's edition of Page Turners, our tween book club. It is for grades 4 through 6. And today, Miss Kristin and I are going to do a book talk on our favorite new book, New Kid. I don't know how many of you have read it before, but we really enjoyed it. So we wanted to hop on here real quick and have a quick chat with you about the book. And for those of you who are tuning in now, this is pre-recorded. We won't always normally necessarily record it, but since it's just me and Miss Kristin today, we decided to put this out for you today. But normally, if we're going to run this club, we are going to run it as a Zoom session, so you can come in, chat with Kristin and I, from your phones or from your laptops or tablets or whatever have you, and then we can all kind of gather and have a book club. But today we're going to talk about New Kid, and you really enjoyed this book, Miss Kristin, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
What was your favorite part? I don't know how many people have typically read graphic novels. We do get quite a few kids and adults coming in to check out these things, but I discovered them, I think I would say, within the last 6 years or so. But what do you like about them that's different than, normally reading like a print book?
Well, for me, I do like to imagine stories in my head, like picture them in my own, in my own way, kind of. But graphic novels kind of take care of that for you. So they add, I guess, to the imagination. So you can kind of come up with your own visualization of it, but they do add to that too. And I also like that they're a pretty quick read, like they look real thick, like this one, to pick it up and look at it, it looks thick and it looks like it's going to take forever. But once you get started, you're flipping pretty consistently, and they're fun to read, like the colorful images, and I don't know. I just enjoy the format of it. And I used to think of graphic novels as being comic books, and I wasn't really interested in comic books. And, I just didn't think it would be something that I would pick up and enjoy. I didn't think that there would be like an actual storyline to it, I guess. I figured it would just be fluff kind of stuff. But there's, it covers a lot of deep information, I guess you could say. So in general, yeah, I'm really starting to like graphic novels.
And I totally agree with you, because I think when you're looking at a graphic novel picture, and for those of you who have read them, you can actually see more emotion from your characters than you would typically find when you read just a print text. And this book is about, as the title suggests, a new kid. And I don't know how many of you out there have ever been the new kid. I have once. And it's completely different to be thrown into a situation where you don't know anybody, and, you're worried about how they're going to perceive you, and just generally, like, how are they going to, what's the word I want to say? How are they going to, I just lost my thought train, but everyone's been the new kid before, even if you haven't been the only new person in your class. Everybody's been new to high school or, middle school, or just maybe you entered a new classroom that day and all your friends are in a completely different room and you don't know anybody. Mm-hmm. And what I was trying to say was that everybody's worried all the time about how people are going to react to them. Are they going to judge me? That's what I was trying to say, before they even know who I am. They kind of get an idea of who I am and go with that rather than coming over to talk to me, which I think some people have struggled with even in their different friend groups and things. So this kid, Jordan. I think they called him Jerome on accident. So that's what I mean. Like, you're judging people before you know them and trying to not even remember their name. But I, Miss Kristin, am terrible with names, notoriously so. I have no idea why. It's nothing personal against other people, but that's one of the things. I have a memory for everything else, but sometimes names I am awful with.
Yes, you're not
But
alone.
but this kid Jordan, he comes into a brand new school, and he is faced with all these kinds of obstacles of, first of all, just starting kind of into his tween years and trying to navigate like just growing up and everything, and then just being in this new situation, and being a minority in a school that is largely populated by white kids. And so there's different challenges that come with that, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things that Jordan struggles with is that he's got all these different friend groups in his life. And I think a lot of us can identify with that. I saw a meme one time, and it was some kind of meme where it was talking about like the face I put on for my parents, the face I put on for this group of friends, and the face I put on for this group of friends. And when they all like clash together, I don't know who I am.
Right.
Because I think that a lot of times like we might act differently when we're with different groups of people. And I think that's sort of what Jordan is kind of identifying with, that they're all the same, all of these different groups of friends, but they all are different in a way too.
And I think that's something actually that, you know, as you grow and you get older, that's something you realize that happens everywhere. It's not just school, you know, like sometimes you act differently at work, sometimes you're different at home. It's one of those things that's just common in every stage of life, it seems.
Absolutely. But what I also liked about this book, and what I seem to find in a lot of graphic novels in general, is that a lot of times the protagonist, the kid who's telling the story, he's telling his story through art. So you kind of get an extra layer of the story there, which is very, very cool. And did you have any favorite parts or characters or anything like that, Miss Kristin?
Well, favorite part, I think I would have to identify with Jordan when he tries to do sports. The fact that he is like forced to do sports, well, I guess it's sports or a play. I totally would have picked the play because that's what I did
Same.
in high school. I did musicals, but definitely never the lead. I was always a background person. So like I can definitely identify him with not knowing sports and knowing what to do and being forced into it like that. I totally understood what he was going through there. But as far as like character, I actually liked some of the not the I mean, I liked Jordan, definitely. I understood, you know, it helped me understand everything that he was going through. But I liked Alexandra, the girl with the puppet on her hands. And what I liked about her was she didn't care about being different. She held on to that, you know, that I forget what they called her exactly, but she held on to that different character throughout the whole book. And then you realize at the end of the book why she acted the way she did. But you know, I was impressed that, especially at that age, you don't want to be different. You want to fit in with everybody else. And I thought it was really awesome that she held her own. And then Ashley, too. Like, she was known to be the gossip of the whole their grade or whatever, but she wasn't necessarily a negative gossiper, you know, like she would just talk. And again at the end, I liked her character at the end, what she did to help Alexandra. That was I don't know, I really enjoyed how that ended.
I loved all those parts too. And I like what you said about sports, and the struggle that Jordan had just trying to get acclimated to that, because what comes up a lot in this book is how a lot of times a lot of us will give into our stereotypes of how we view other people.
Mm-hmm.
I know one time we talked about this one time at work, someone assumed you were a runner.
Right.
Because you're like tall, lean, whatever, and you totally are not. And I felt like this was happening a lot in the book, where a lot of these characters were seeing people of a different race, and they were assuming, oh, you must play basketball, or you must be really great at sports in general, or, you know, that
really
kind of
fast,
thing.
or yeah.
Right. And I think this is what makes this book interesting because, as I was saying, when you can look at the pictures in a graphic novel, you really get a sense of how these characters feel. And sometimes I think people will make a joke, or they'll project some kind of stereotype, and they don't realize how that action makes someone feel upset, or you know, that sort of thing. So I think this book, personally, I know we enjoyed it, and we're reading a lot of children's books, just, you know, being the librarians here. But I think this is a book that anyone could enjoy. And I say this all the time. I'm like, you know, adults should read YA and children's books and whatever. But I think that reading something like this, even with your parents or with your family, it's like a really great talking book, just to kind of get inside what's going on at school and that kind of thing. So I definitely recommend that everyone check this out.
Me too. And the fact, you know, that it was a Newbery Medal winner too, you know, I do tend to gear towards the books that have won medals, because you figured it was for a reason. So
Absolutely.
yeah, it must be something
I don't
good.
think, and I don't think that I've read one Newbery Medal or Newbery Honor Medal book that I haven't enjoyed.
Right.
They really are great about picking those books.
Yep.
So we hope that our listeners out there will check out New Kid if they haven't already, because it really is a quick read, and I got really engaged with the story quickly. I also saw how many pages it was, and I've read some hefty books in my time, but I was a little concerned about how quick I was going to be able to read this, and I think I got through it in about a day.
Yes. I agree that it's a quick read. And also, just to let you know, too, if you're not comfortable, we have a copy of the book. Other libraries in our system do as well, so we can place a hold on for you. But if you're not comfortable with the idea of picking up the book in the library, we do actually have it on our Cloud Library app. Somewhere I have, excuse me, I'm going to go off screen for a second. I don't know what I did with, oh, here it is. So this is what the app would look like. It's not really coming in focus. Sorry about that. And then, nope, not really. So I'm going to tell you. Download the app. So it's the Cloud Library with the white in the background and the CL. You're going to log into the Luzerne County Library system, and then you're going to put in the 14 digits on the back of your library card. And then once you enter that in, you don't have to enter it in again, and then you can browse. There's a whole bunch of audio books. There's a whole bunch of regular books too, and New Kid is one of those books. So if you want to just download it just to read on your phone or any tablet or anything like that, you can do that as well.
Absolutely. I'm really enjoying Cloud Library. There's lots of options.
Yes.
So definitely check that out if you haven't already.
Okay. And before we wrap things up, Miss Noelle, should we talk about our next possible reads?
We should. Okay. You can go first.
All right. So one of the ones that I selected, I kind of am going to stick with a graphic novel theme, I think, for a little while. One of the ones that I chose is Whitebird by R.J. Palacio. You might be familiar with that author. That's the author of Wonder. And this book is actually a story that takes place. It is connected to Wonder because it's about one of the characters' grandmothers. I believe it's grandmother, maybe great-grandmother. I can't remember for sure. And it's a World War II story. So it's about a girl that had to go into hiding to stay safe. And it's really a moving story. Any story from World War II is moving. But this is really something that kind of hits you in the heart. But so this is one of the options.
Miss Kristin, we're totally on the same page because I've also selected a graphic novel. Nice. This one is called El Defo. I don't know how many of our listeners have read it before, but this I like to explore when I read worlds that are and the shoes of other people that I wouldn't really know too much about typically. So El Defo is about a young girl who is deaf, and this graphic novel kind of goes into what her life is like and how it's sometimes really funny and how it's sometimes hard, and how she's still completely normal, like everybody else, just that she listens a little differently. So I'm recommending El Defo for our listeners, and I hope that we, get to read that and check that out sometime.
Good. So what we're going to do then is put a vote out there on Facebook for you. So you can choose between Whitebird and El Defo, but we really like both of these stories. So it might be one of those things where you can choose which one we read first, because we probably will read both and discuss them.
Yeah, I want to.
Yes. So anything else, Miss Noelle, that you wanted to add?
Oh, I think that's just about it, Miss Kristin.
Okay. Well, thank you everybody for joining us. So if anybody would be interested in joining us live, we will not record it, but you're welcome to sign up. We will meet up again in 2 months. So January is what we're thinking. So, all right. Thanks everyone. Have a good night.